what they thought was plaque in the circumflex valve.
In the artery, yeah.
It's not looking good. He needs to come off steroids. Somebody comes into the hospital with shortness of breath. Oh, I'm experiencing pain down my left arm. Shortness of breath. Okay, let's start by doing a rectal exam. Bend over. Damn! Is that really what you want to do when the bro is complaining of what symptoms of a heart attack? And so why are we doing every other test other than actually treating what he has? Coach Greg, in today's video, The Rock has coronary artery disease. Now, The Rock has come out in a video and he goes over this. He explains this, but he refuses to accept it. How many years have I been saying The Rock needs to come off steroids? And is it possible The Rock's 100% natural? And I have made a shirt to say the exact odds of this. Unfortunately, he seems to be following in his footsteps. And so he made a video with Dr. Mark Hyman. And so is he in fact still a virgin? Has he ever in fact had sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky? Perhaps he has, I don't know. What I do know is he's a yes man. Perhaps I would like to call him a simp. A simp for The Rock, because he literally stood there and talked to The Rock to his face, and he didn't address the elephant in the room. If you suffer from coronary artery disease, and you have the narrowing of an artery, and you could suffer from a heart attack, a stroke, should you be abusing performance-enhancing drugs? Should you not even address this? Should we not even talk about this? Now, consider this. His dad, he talks about it. It's the start of the video. Oh, he had aches and pains. He refused to treat it. He refused to do anything. What happened? He ended up with cancer, and he died in his 40s. And so what do you think is going to happen to The Rock? Now, remember, this is not something I want to be right about. I don't want to be right when The Rock doesn't make it to the age of 60. I don't want to be right about anything. I want The Rock to live longer than last time. But if you abuse performance-enhancing drugs to the extent of this, especially after you have coronary artery disease, it's not going to end well.
There was what looked to be some stuff inside the,
like a buildup of
like
what
a
they
build
thought was
up,
plaque.
what they thought was plaque in the circumflex valve.
In the artery, yeah.
Bro is a living heart attack. He's a survivor. He's lucky to be alive, and he does the dye test. It shows a narrowing of his left circumflex. The doctor knows this. He's seen it. And so he's doing bullshit tests like a stool test for gut microbiome. You have a dye test showing the narrowing of the arteries, and you're ordering a stool test. Oh, let's do an MRI. Let's scan the entire body. We already know what he's got. It's not looking good. He needs to come off steroids. Why don't we do exactly what needs to be done? Somebody comes into the hospital with shortness of breath. Oh, I'm experiencing pain down my left arm. Shortness of breath. Okay, let's start by doing a rectal exam. Bend over. Damn! Is that really what you want to do when the bro is complaining of what symptoms of a heart attack? And so why are we doing every other test other than actually treating what he has?
I got this gut issue. And he's like, what's going on? I said, I've seen doctors and I can't quite nail it. I can't quite fix it. It's in my digestion.
I've seen the doctors. I can't quite fix it. Let's go from one doctor to the next and see. It's got to be my digestion. It's something I ate. It's my gut microbiome. You've got the dye test. You already know what it is. Is it possible he also has irritable bowel? That he has diarrhea and so on? Sure. But that's not going to end him. Why don't we focus on the main problem first? This makes no sense. The Rock needs to take this seriously, but like anyone else, most people, he's living in denial. I don't want to face up to this. Let's do everything possible to mitigate these circumstances, but not say, hey, you know what? I can't do what I've been doing. I can't always look like The Rock. We've seen other WWE superstars go about this. Remember Batista? He looked significantly smaller. And why do you think that is? He's no longer abusing performance-enhancing drugs. What about Triple H? He literally suffered from the Widowmaker.
I feel great, and that's the odd thing, but I just can't crack it. Yeah. And he said, I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. His name is Dr. Mark Hyman.
And so he came to him with gut issues. He's gone to several doctors. He just can't figure it out. Something to do with his digestion.
And you had said very succinctly, you had said, I'm not going to treat your symptoms. I'm going to go deeper than that. and I'm going to treat the root cause of what's going on.
And so he said, look, I'm going to treat the root cause of what's going on. Functional medicine. Is he a quack? Is he legit? Well, let's see what he did.
What we found was, rather than just sort of like giving you symptomatic treatment, we dug into the why. And we found out that you had taken an antibiotic for something you had.
2.
I had the same exact thing. I was on several courses of antibiotics. I had pneumonia, bronchitis, and so on. Perhaps you all remember this. And it, in fact, affected my gut. I ended up with candida. I was shitting harder than last time, or actually softer, much softer, and a lot of it. And so I also had gut issues. Yay! He solved his gut issues. This is fantastic. But what about the heart? Now, if you had to pick between heart issues and gut issues, hey, let me shit myself every single day.
I was never a medication guy. Like, I wasn't taking any kind of medications or anything like that. And even now, as it relates to my heart.
And so he isn't on any medications whatsoever. He's 100% natural. I'm sure he's not on testosterone or anything like that. And so he's not on any meds. But let's examine the heart.
Okay, where's the colonoscopy line? Let's do that. And
All right.
hey, here's the cardiovascular workup. And let's look at the heart and let's look at all the valves and things like that.
He speaks about they looked at the valves and so on. What he's talking about is he's saying they looked at his coronary arteries.
Everything looked great. And then there was what looked to be some stuff inside the
Like a buildup of
like
what
a
they thought was
buildup,
plaque.
what they thought was
And
plaque in the circumflex valve.
Everything was great, and then suddenly it wasn't. A buildup of some plaque. And so there was a narrowing of the left circumflex vessel of the heart. And so there's some plaque. He doesn't specify exactly how much. I wish I would know. If there was perhaps 90% or more, it would literally be a heart attack. And in that case, they would need to stent him. And I'm certain they would have spoken about this in this video. And so we don't know, but we have to assume it's less than 90%, but perhaps it's getting close to a heart attack.
I always hear the main two.
Yeah.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
But for those listening, like me, I was unaware that we also have a really important one that goes around the back, the circumflex.
And so he was assuming there's only arteries left and right, but there's certainly front and back, lateral, and so on. And so one of them was starting to get blocked.
Well, let's get you on this medication. It's a multi-month medication, and here we go. And I thought, God. And I was so hesitant because I wasn't taking a medication. So then I called you.
And so they said, you know what? Based on what we're seeing, you should be taking this medication. It's important. It's an emergency. You need to start it. And he's thinking, well, I'm on any medications. I take nothing. And so I'm hesitant to take these medications because after all, I'm the Rock. I don't take anything except perhaps Zoa Energy.
I said, Doc, listen, here's what I got. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but what do you think?
And so rather than taking the medication that the doctor suggested he takes, he thinks, I'm going to call somebody else. You know, if I call somebody else, maybe they'll say, I don't need to take it. I don't want to take it. And so let me hop from one doctor to the next until I find a doctor that says, no, it's all right. You don't need to take it.
Let's get a scan done. Here's the report from our head cardiologist, who's a very good friend of yours. And he said, looks great. It is just an anatomical thing.
And so let's just unpackage this load of nonsense. It's an anatomical thing on this AI scan. The first scan says, hey, you need to take this medication and it's important. You need to do it right away. The second one says, it's an anatomical thing. And so what exactly is an AI scan? Is it artificial intelligence? It's a magic, it's a robot? Is ChatGPT analyzed the scan? It says, no, you don't need to worry. You don't need to take any medication. And you're going to go with that? Is this AI better than a human cardiologist? The dye test, it's conclusive. You don't need another test. When you have the mic drop, the dye test, all the other tests pale in comparison. Was it an MRI scan? You think that's better than the dye test? It's not. And if this was an anatomical thing, something misformed at birth, anatomical, it's always been there, it would have made it very difficult for him throughout his childhood to play sports, to be active, to be fit. But we're talking about The Rock, an elite level athlete. And so how could it have been an anatomical thing that's been there congenitally since birth? But at the same time, he's a 6-foot+ mountain of muscle, jacked football superstar athlete. How are those two things possible?
It's not built up at all.
Yeah.
His valves look great. come back in 3 years.
It was such a relief. I don't need to take the medications. Finally, I found a doctor that said that the DICE test, that the mic drop test that knows for sure what's going on. They found another test, AI, and you're good, go away. And you know what? We looked at your cholesterol and well.
And what was amazing was, your cholesterol was actually pretty good. I mean, you had low HDL genetically, which is the good cholesterol.
That's, it's got to be that it's been that way since birth. It's probably in your family genetics, your history. Or could it be that he's on testosterone? HDL, as you know, gets lowered when you're using performance-enhancing drugs, namely steroids. Testosterone. How many of you think The Rock is natural? Do I have to keep reminding you? There's a 1 in a million chance he's natural. And so if you're his doctor and you see lower HDL, are you going to say, yeah, it's probably always been that way since birth? Or are you going to say, Rock, look me in the eyes. It's me and you. I'm your doctor. I'm not going to rat you out. It's client confidentiality. Are you on steroids, Rock? Are you on testosterone, tren, any of this stuff? Rock could then say, yes, doctor, don't tell Coach Greg. I am on testosterone. Okay. The HDL is low because you're on testosterone. Even if it's just on HRT, even lower doses, HDL can be lower. But instead, he goes on this podcast and I believe lies deliberately. I don't believe that a doctor with 1.43 million followers with this level of experience, looking at the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sitting in front of him, 250 plus pounds of muscle, and thinks he's 100% natural, that he's never taken any medications in his life, and that he's not actually on steroids when that's a clear side effect of taking performance-enhancing drugs. And so it's impossible to have at least 1 in a million low HDL and normal cholesterol unless you're on a statin. And so are they lying? Is The Rock actually on a statin? Normal cholesterol, low HDL. And if you believe that The Rock has never lied in the past, remember The Rock in that interview when he says, I've never had any candies before? Or, better yet, remember when The Rock lied and said, this is the first time I've ever been in this fast food restaurant. I'm going to try these burgers out for the very first time. And there's video footage of him doing the exact same video more than once on the same restaurant years ago. The Rock has been caught lying.
When we did a deeper panel, you didn't really have any of the risk factors. Your inflammation level was super low.
And so he says, you don't have any risk factors. Your inflammation's low, ApoA1C. What about the risk factor of steroids? Are we just going to avoid that, skip that out, avoid the elephant in the room? Or has perhaps The Rock even lied to this doctor? Doctor, look at me. I'm 100% natural. Now, I know you probably heard of the Liver King, and he said he was natural, and he ended up not being natural, but I'm not the Liver King. I'm Michael Hearn. Me and Michael Hearn, the two of us are natural. And then The Rock, like Paul Saladino, he just believes it. This doctor being the doc of The Rock, how much money do you think he's going to make? Every friggin' guy that has money is going to be like, I want The Rock stock. They're on steroids. I'm going to go see this doc and, hey, I've got problems with my heart. I got all this going on. I'll go see that doctor and say, hey, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. We'll treat the gut problems. And you're fine. You live forever. Just know. Please consider the possible bias of this doctor.
All the bad cholesterol particles tend to be the result of eating too much starch and sugar, not necessarily fat.
Or is it lack of exercise? He's saying blame everything on sugar. Sugar is not inherently bad if you exercise off those calories. And so I'm going to do a bike race after this. Perhaps I'll burn 1,200 calories. If I consume a few hundred grams of sugar, do you really think that's going to ruin my metabolism? I'm not going to be healthy? Or is it people are eating hella licorice, gummy bears, and sitting around doing nothing and becoming obese? And if we're going to talk about what causes higher levels of cholesterol, it's more likely saturated fat than actually consuming sugar. But really, it's being obese and not exercising.
What was that biomarker that connects to dementia? What is that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's ApoE testing.
And so, you can get a test to see, are you at a greater risk of developing dementia? And if you are, well, you should eat healthier, you should exercise, you should avoid alcohol. These are things that everyone should be doing anyway. If you do these things, less likely to get cancer, less likely to be obese, less likely for everything. Being healthy, guess what? Last I checked, and it's still, let me see what time it is, it's still healthy. Being healthy is always healthy. It's better to do the good things than the bad things. 150 minutes of cardio a week, lifting weights, managing stress, going to sleep, avoiding drugs and alcohol. These are good things to do daily. You don't need a test to say, oh, you have this symptom and you might get this and that. All of you drinking alcohol, all of you abusing steroids, all are at risk. All of you should be optimally healthy right now. So how does knowing that I'm more likely to get a problem help me when I'm already doing every single thing possible to avoid that in the first place? And so if anything, I'm now stressed out. Dang it. I got shitty ass genetics. I'm going to die of a heart attack. So I get more stress, more cortisol. Guess what? I get the heart attack even quicker. And there is in fact research where it's like the placebo effect or the positive mindset effect. If you have cancer, for example, and you believe in yourself and you think positive versus, oh, I'm doomed. Those people live longer and better. And so always try to keep a positive mindset. And if you're getting all these tests ordered to find out, oh, I'm more likely to have Alzheimer's, I'm more likely to get this and get that, when you're already doing everything possible to be healthy, it's not beneficial. So why would I want to know that? It's not beneficial. Do you know who it benefits though? The clinic, who then charges you for the blood work, charges you for the medications, charges you for everything. And so they're incentivized to test you harder than last time for everything. Imagine how much money the Rock's got. Hey, Rock, well, you know what? Instead of taking that medicine, it would be $1,000, pay that medicine. Why don't we do 15,000 tests and do every single other thing possible? It'll be $100,000, which makes them more money.
So we now actually have even blood tests that are blood biomarkers, some of the proteins that get released when you have Alzheimer's in your blood. And we can look at that. And if you don't have that, you're clean.
You really think that just because that test says you're not going to get Alzheimer's, you can't get it? What if you have a stroke? That would be like saying, hey, I went to the doctor, they checked out my heart, I did the scan, everything, and I can never die. I'm on Brian Johnson's blueprint plan. I'm going to live forever. I don't have to worry. And you walk out across the street with your eyes closed, you get hit by a truck. It doesn't work like that.
And so we found out you actually had what we call the jackpot gene.
And so cool, he paid a bunch of money, did a bunch of tests, and now he thinks he's invincible. Hell, I got the jackpot gene. I'm going to double the dose of my tren. This is bordering on eugenics. This is something the Nazis invented. What are we now going to exclude certain parts of the population that don't have these supreme genetics? It's ridiculous. And so this is what's bad from eugenics. Imagine this. All the insurance companies now demand all of these tests. Okay, you got to get these tests. And you find out, oh, you can't get healthcare because, well, it says here you're going to get dementia. And so we won't insure you. Oh, you are most likely to have a heart attack. You're done.
You had like the ApoE2, which is a gene that means you kind of live a long time. You know, the people who like smoke and drink and live forever.
Yeah.
You're kind of one of those.
Frigging sucking off the Rock harder than last time. Bro, did you really need to add the twist? The twist and pull. I mean, how much slobbering are you doing right now? This is a simp.
You have a 2-3.
No amount of tequila.
Well, I don't know about that. There is an amount of tequila that can override your genes. That's for sure.
I mean, doesn't it sound like The Rock has been going from doctor to doctor to find the one doctor that tells him what he wants to hear, not what he needs to hear? Remember, I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear you're good. You can drink as much of that tequila as you want. You do all the steroids in secret. Don't tell anyone, and no problem. If he dies in 5 years, he dies in 5 years. Does it matter? He's made his money. The Rock's happy. But if he tells him the truth, levels with him, Rock, got to stop the steroids. It's not good. You can't be drinking alcohol, tequila. What are you talking about? It's class 1 carcinogen. I know you sell it, make a lot of money from it, but it's killing people. Probably shouldn't do it.
Why do you think dudes in general are like that?
We see this as pretty classic in medicine. You know, women always are more proactive about their health.
And so, of course, we know this. Women are more proactive about their health. Men, no, I'm tough. I wouldn't go to the doctor. I'm not going no matter what. The Rock's dad, literally, he explained this. And so what do you think the chances are? The Rock, he just doesn't want to know. Hey, you fixed my tummy, but do I really want to know what's going on in my heart? I don't want to get tested because ignorance is bliss. Have you ever heard of that statement? What you don't know, it can't hurt you. And so if he did do the test, found out the things, then maybe he'd have to stop. Trust me, I've coached a number of bodybuilders abusing performance-enhancing drugs, test, trend, and so on. And I'm telling them, I need to see your blood work. No, I don't want to see it. Finally see it. You need to stop. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I don't know what to tell you. I've never seen blood work this bad. Well, I'm not stopping. I'll just cut out the trend. What do you mean you're not going to stop? They can't stop. These are guys that have been on trend 700 milligrams for a year straight. They don't care. Heart attack, they still don't care. Oh, they'll go off cycle for a while and they hop back on. Unbelievable.
He kind of toughed through it, and he had all these aches and pains, refused to go see the doctor. He was 45 when he died.
What was the pain? Was it something?
Cancer.
Grandfather died, 45, cancer, refused to go and see a doctor. Case closed.
And we use very sophisticated AI to make the interpretation much more accurate, much higher resolution.
How much is the
$4.99?
And so here's the thing. This is a nonstop ad for the clinic to buy the scans and so on. $499. Yet I just looked. It's $3,999. Total body scan, the one that you want. That's a lot of money. And how much money do you think he's making? Millions of dollars by pretending that if you get these tests, well, you're going to be healthy. Yay! Only you're not. And so here's the scam. You do the total body scan and they're going to find something that's slightly off and they're going to demand more tests. You spend more money and they do this and they do that. And then in the end, doesn't even matter. And in the end, oh, guess what? You have this gene. You might get Alzheimer's in 20 years. And so you have to do more cardio, eat healthier, and be healthy. I'm telling you for free right now, do the things that they're going to tell you to do in case you have the problems. Less alcohol, less drugs, sleep, cardio, lift some weights. It's simple. Be healthy. Stop being fat. Processed foods, less of those. Less shit. This is the solution, and it's for free. You shouldn't all be getting full body MRIs. Now, if you got cancer, they got to see if it's metastasis. Like, yeah, I get it. But everyone shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm getting a body scan. No.
Right? You're the Rock, which is invincible.
Yeah, sexiest man alive. I got a lot of...
Sexiest man alive.
And so The Rock, The Rock is invincible until he's not. And I'm telling you, his Achilles heel is the fact that he's abusing performance-enhancing drugs. He has stenosis of one of his main coronary vessels, and they downplay the shit out of it and act like it's nothing. No big deal. The Rock, he doesn't take any medications, only based on what he said, it clearly shows he's likely taking a statin, the lower LDL. The fact his cholesterol is normal. The fact that The Rock has this much muscle, does anyone think that he's actually natural? But they avoid the elephant in the room. They don't discuss performance-enhancing drugs. Do you not think this would be a much better video if The Rock, who's concerned with everyone's health, hey, get the test done. Get all the testing. Why doesn't The Rock say, do you know what? I probably shouldn't have used steroids. I am 53, and now that I look back on it, they were dangerous. And so expect The Rock to now get winded on activities he used to be able to do. Perhaps during his training session, he's the toughest man in the room. He's up at 4:30, but he can no longer lift what he once lifted. He can't put out the same level of cardio. Shortness of breath, he's getting tired. Oh, it's just because I'm old. Or is it because his blood vessel is no longer patent? It's being blocked. Less blood flow is circulating through it. And so he's now at a disadvantage.
People think of you as sort of invincible, and even your name, like The Rock, is sort of emblematic of that.
The pressure of that, Doc. We got to talk about that. Jesus Christ.
And so he says, The Rock is invincible. The Rock answers, the pressure of that. The pressure to use steroids, to have that invincible look. He's The Rock. He needs to look like one. Rock hard muscle. The Rock is a superstar actor with hundreds of millions of followers, one of the most famous men in the world. Imagine the difference it had made if he had said, you know what? I'm not natural. I want to admit to everyone. But he did not.
But you've been really vulnerable here. You've shared your medical story. You've shared what's going on. You've shared some of the fears you've had, some of the stuff in your family.
I feel like this is not being vulnerable whatsoever. Hey, they did a test on me, and I said, this is bullshit. I'm The Rock. I'm invincible. I found another doc to do some AI tests, say, I'm also still invincible. And how is it vulnerable to say, I have the superior gene. You can drink and smoke and live forever? That's not vulnerable. Vulnerable is saying, I abuse steroids, and it's dramatically likely shortening my life. I did this test, and it's too late. It sucks. I have this, I have that. Not, I don't have this, I don't have that. That is not vulnerable. How is he being vulnerable? Oh, I'm The Rock and I did a bunch of tests. Turns out I'm freaking fantastic.
Well, I just want to thank you for being so courageous, for leaning into your own health, for actually using your voice to raise awareness about this.
Notice that they did not do an exercise stress test, instead did this AI form of examination. And so what makes more sense, the low-hanging fruit, the exercise stress test, or let's use some AI testing and make an ad so that thousands of people also want to do this? It's The Rock with the doc. People are going to flock to this in droves, paying thousands of dollars and avoiding what we already know to be true. And so, Rock, please be careful. And so rather than using performance-enhancing drugs, Turk Builder Max. It's natural, it's legit, and if you don't trust me, don't believe me, you think it's snake oil, money back guarantee and a $20 gift card. If you have lower levels of testosterone, we got G-Test Max, G-Test Platinum. We have GLP Max to help control your weight. Looking for pre-workout, you can get Blue Lobstered, of course. You remember the Blue Lobster? I've got him a Charmuta, the Blue Lobster crab. They have lots of fun times in the recording studio. Perhaps one day they'll make a baby. Guys, I strongly suggest you get the Blue Lobster. You can get Solidricide. It's an amazing new ingredient inside, and wow, what a difference it makes. Get it faster than last time, harder than last time. Delta Sleep, pre-workouts, protein. We got it all. Get to the website. If you're interested in coaching by me and my team, not this doctor, The Rock with the doc, with Coach Greg. Apply by clicking the link in the description, and you can get your blood work read, make the changes that you need. You have FaceTime with Coach Greg, unlimited text messaging. You have weekly check-ins. You're going to get the diet, the training, everything that you need. If you're interested, and remember, the prices are dramatically reduced, click the link in the description. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost your algorithm, like the video if you like. Don't forget to watch one of those two books, cookbooks, training books, Hard and Last Time clothing line, the 1 in a million shirts, all of it. Get to the website, and until next time, I am out.